Welcome back, everyone. We have just wrapped up another great episode with none other than Simon Gawther. What a guy. I mean, so great, so knowledgeable, has got a lot of information to share. It's been great. And yeah, we had him in to talk all about the innovation that happens at the World Barista Championship and World Brewers Comp and how that all comes out to play with what we do every day.
Yeah, it was interesting. Before we chatted, I was like, I feel like some people do you ever stop using a new innovation because you're like, oh, everyone's using it now, I don't want to do it. And he's like, in F1, if you can make the car go faster, you make the car go faster. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. If you can make the coffee taste better, make the coffee taste better.
That's it. And I think he had some really good points. I liked how he framed things that it needed to be, repeatable and needed to be predictable, and that you could really taste a difference in it. That it wasn't just for the sake of adding more complex stuff in.
So out of all of the innovations that we've seen across looking at that, I guess looking more to a home barista or even just a cafe barista day to day, what are the kind of things that have trickled down that are that's going to make the biggest difference to your coffee?
Yeah, well, I think we started off, we talked about scales and, they're a little bit of not necessarily old news, but these are the innovation implications that have trickled down a decade ago and that now are firmly entrenched in how we look and work with specialty coffee. So scales being used at the competition stage to really talk about precision of extraction and brew ratios now across every quality specialty place.
But then things like the waved, the new thing. I feel like that's that competition 1%, right? It's that I'm right at the top. How can I give myself a slight edge over the rest? Whereas for a home user or someone in a cafe, I'm sure there's lots of other things you could do that make a bigger difference.
Yeah. I think, again, Simon had a great way of framing this up of saying, okay, what are the biggest levers almost that you can pull that are going to have an impact on your coffee? Yeah. You can go down rabbit holes ad nauseum with specialty coffee. It's one of the things we love about it. But you can get really trapped down there spending a lot of money and a lot of time on stuff that doesn't impact the cup that much.
I kind of want to see him rethink the espresso machine as a whole. If someone was just to give him a crap load of money and maybe even to decide something that's not cost effective, but I thought his statement was interesting of the espresso machine isn't designed to make the coffee taste better. It's designed to preserve the life of the espresso machine. Referring mainly to the boiler. And the point being that the materials it's made of will be damaged over time if there are any certain mineral contents in there. So it needs to protect itself there. And he was talking about different ways that you could do that, even just getting rid of the boiler and having a different heating points along the way. So it would be interesting looking at that because that compared to filter coffee's always been easy with adjusting your water and mineral contents. You can do it before the brew, you can do it after. But yeah, espresso machines is more difficult.
Yeah, I think there's definitely room for innovation there. I think it's starting to happen. And I think driven by a lot of the domestic kind of brands.
Yes.
Because they're constrained by size and by cost. And so they're having to really hone in on how do I get the best result and be very efficient at the build.
Yeah.
And getting rid of this big boiler or body of water that has to be kept at a constant temperature. Yeah. And boilers are they're actually quite challenging to make effectively from what I understand because you've got to heat them up and keep them at pressure, especially a steam boiler. They've got to do all the pressure testing. So all the welding has to be really neatly done and it all has to, contain. Because the minute he said, we should use a different product other than stainless steel, I was like, I wonder if you could do a silicon goon bag of water. Just like a big balloon of silicon hot water.
Imagine that design though, if the actual bladder was outside of the machine though, and you just had this big jiggly ball hanging off your machine.
Yeah. It might take a little while to sell that idea.
I'm into it. No, I think it's sick. It's very designer.
I was thinking he was talking about how Teflon might be an alternative, but I've also right, like Teflon has kind of a bad name in the cooking world now.
Yep. But his not argument with that, but it's like Teflon's bad because it's like you scratch it, you get cancer. But he's like, hopefully, if there's a boiler in the machine, who's scratching the inside? It's only when you're like scraping it that you cause yourself some issues.
But I mean, if I have seen any random ads at 2 a.m., they're about hexagonal cooking appliances and cooking pots and pans. Where's that hex boiler kind of collab?
Well, like cast iron boilers. You know, we go old school cast iron fry pans, but cast iron boilers.
Yeah.
And these are terrible ideas because
I know the hex-clad boiler. I'm like, what are we trying to do? Make the boiler non-stick?
Yeah,
the ad's like an egg sliding around.
Yeah, like eggs shooting out your steam wand.
Oh, no, we do not want to encourage that practice.
Oh yeah, steam eggs with your steam wand.
No.
Oh, it's delicious. Do
it's
it.
a hot take.
I've actually always
wondered
wondered
even a hot
why
take that's a bad idea.
Like I mean, obviously because you'll boil it, but why not take other things into a coffee machine, into a boiler, and make coffee out of it?
What?
As in, like, it goes through a boiler, like it's always only water.
Yeah.
But like, could you do other things?
Milk through a boiler with milk?
No, I guess it literally would be like different versions of water.
Well, you know what? What about just like, we were talking earlier about some cooking experience, but just a sous vide espresso machine. Just pop your little capsule of pre-ground coffee in there, put it in your little Ziploc, drop it in the water bath. Ooh.
Oh, that was actually that was one of the ways Jamie and I were trying to make cold brew better. We did a sous vide cold brew.
Yeah.
Or a sous vide brew.
It does come back to what we kind of noted in the episode as well, is that coffee preparation most of the time is a very dynamic environment. There's a lot of different variables all happening at once and often in flow. Like if you think even about a pour over, you've got grind size, you've got roast, you've got age of the coffee, which is degassing and changing how the water flows. You've got the shape of the vessel. But then you've also got literally how the liquid is moving from the top to the bottom. It's a very dynamic mechanic, and it's only exacerbated with espresso. Yep. So figuring out how all this stuff works, as he said, one variable at a time.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Now, I'm jumping all over the shop here. I was going to ask you about the coffee that we brewed earlier, but it made me think, you as a world barista judge, you can't, when you're judging a coffee, you just have to judge it on the merits, on the score sheet and all that kind of stuff.
What's in the cup?
Have you had anyone ever win where you were like, I didn't like the coffee personally?
Oh, good question. I don't think it's probably been as strong a response as that, because most of the time the coffees are pretty good. Pretty good. I have, to be fair, I've been to some competitions and helped with some competitions where the region was developing. Yep. And so the coffees that were being served up and brewed, it wasn't highly experienced competitors and wasn't necessarily great coffee. So it's like who was the best out of who was there.
Right.
And, there's some of that. There's definitely been some signature drinks in the past. Again, not at the world competition, but some signature drinks that have been served that you just kind of see them preparing the ingredients and in your mind you're like, oh boy, where is this going? So I do remember having a signature drink that was very memorable. I was judging a regional competition in Australia in the Northern Territory, which is, for those of you outside of Australia, is kind of the central north wedge of the country. And right up the top, very tropical, very humid. But down in the bottom of that region is full desert. Yeah. It's like literally the middle of Australia, right near where Uluru, the big rock formation, is in the middle of the country. And there's a small town there, small city, and there, they were running this regional competition there. I think it was at the casino, but I don't know.
Is it casino at Uluru?
I don't know. Not at Uluru.
Oh, okay. In the town nearby.
Maybe. My memory might be a little hazy. Okay. And when I tell you about the signature drink, you'll understand why.
Okay.
We saw them kind of preparing it, and there was definitely some chocolate involved. So you're like, okay, cool. That's classic combo. That'll look good. And then they chopped off the top to a chili pepper, like a spicy chili, and put it in a holder and the whole signature drink was served in the chili, right? So all the liquid is filled in this hollowed out chili, kind of like a Viking drinking goblet, you know, and you were just watching it be assembled piece by piece going, okay, I'm going to be drinking that in a moment, prepare myself for spicy hot chili, and to keep a very neutral expression.
But spicy feels like a tough thing to force a judge. Like, was it really hot?
It was a little lip tingling. Luckily it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely memorable where you just see ingredients go into the signature drink. You're like, oh.
No.
And when people have done savory signature drinks before with like beef stock and things like that, and you're just like, oh.
Has there been an ingredient where you were like, oh God, and then you tried and you're like, why haven't I thought of this? Why haven't I thought of this? Like, this is amazing.
Look, like, again, not saying that this is like the way to go or not, but I did judge a competitor in Busan last year in Korea at the Worlds who used like some descriptions of like whipped tofu as kind of as a descriptor for things, and using like a very savory forward space. And I think there's some real interesting space to explore around savory beverages.
That was so confusing with Liam then just trying to tell us that we were 15 minutes into the episode, because he's written it on a board to hold up, but he's also smiling and nodding at Ben as he was telling the story, and then just holding
He was being a great judge. He's like, I'm engaged. I'm listening.
Yeah,
I'm on camera here, but I don't want to get in your shot or your shot.
Hey, the people can know. He's holding up a sign, you know.
Usually we have a timer,
Also,
guys.
another inside tip for the listeners, we have a safe word on the show that is pineapple. And because
I'm so glad you brought this up.
I think we have to bring it up because we make jokes sometimes, I think, of like, oh, don't pineapple me there and stuff. And people are like, what is he talking about? Don't pineapple him. So whenever we say something that's like wrong on the show, we will say pineapple so that Liam, producer, can find it in the edit. He can type in the word pineapple and it will take him to the part that he needs to cut or edit. So that is a little inside information for all you It's Just Coffee heads out there.
The funny part is that we keep on getting, I think it's in your subject, tasting notes of pineapple. So we're like, don't cut that bit out. Just like that. Yeah.
That's what you and I do.
Did you think I was both of you just then?
Yeah, I was like, that's if we had a baby, it's you. You're our big baby. You're our big sexy baby.
Go, go, gaga.
Hey, son, calm down. All
right. Hey, can you hit me with some, oh wait, you have something else?
No. I think just to recap, the conversation with Simon was great. We wanted to look at what kinds of innovation were coming out of the competition stage and how they were kind of flowing into real world stuff. So we covered a few different topics.
Has anyone done coffee enemas at the World? What? These are really, have you not seen these? These are everywhere.
No, I have not seen these.
Gwyneth Paltrow does them.
That does not mean that they are everywhere.
There's lots of research into how there's no real information that they help, but lots of people are doing them.
This is where, when we talk about innovation, we need to talk about all of the failed ideas that should not see the light of day.
Do a live pot from a coffee.
No. Oh my goodness. Okay, moving on. We will
foodcast. Sorry. Okay, moving on. Yep, you.
Please move on. There is going to be the World Barista Championships in Milan at Host Festival coming up in October. We're going to be there. We're going to be covering things, and we're going to be keeping our eyes out for the latest innovations and different ideas, and see if we can put some snapshots together to give everyone a heads up of, here's some fun things to try out at your workplace.
Yeah, absolutely. Might even do like a little 10-minute YouTube of like top 5 things at Host this year or something like that as well. Great. So we'll keep an eye out for everything there. Do we have time for some news?
We do. Let's hit it.
Liam's also written Foodcast on his whiteboard over there.
You're not supposed to see it. You're supposed to laugh when I put it up, okay?
Oh, man. A long day of podcasting, but we are still here for you. And there's some fun little news here that I read and I heard about just recently. I read and I heard about it. So many different channels of information.
Like when people say,
out.
I was thinking in my head. And it's like, well, what else do you do there?
So DeLonghi, Italian coffee machine brand, has done a fun little marketing campaign recently. Obviously, there are a whole range of different tariffs going on in the US that are restricting different imports, and some of them changing on and off, as all of our US listeners will know.
We don't want your coffee machines, no machines.
But there's some exception for computer-related products.
Okay.
Or I don't know what we kind of call it about, there's an exemption for computers and smartphones, right? So to avoid this tariff, potentially, I don't know if it'll actually fly at customs here, but DeLonghi has argued that their latest coffee machine, which is a connected machine, is actually the first computer that also makes coffee. So instead of pitching it as a coffee machine, they're pitching it as, this is a computer, but it also makes coffee, and bringing it in as a computer and not a coffee machine. So it would avoid those.
Do you have it there?
Tariffs. Yeah, I do.
Can I have a look?
It's pretty cute. It
there you go. It says,
and it says, "Hey computer,
computer, make me a coffee." That's good. That's, what do you call it, like PR campaign. It's definitely not going to exempt them from that, but a fun little thing that's going to get them a little bit of traction. Although that machine doesn't even have a screen.
It's an easy-to-use touchscreen, apparently.
Oh, where is it?
And
I can't see it.
I don't know. It's so well integrated.
Or maybe it's on the top of the
thing.
machine.
Who knows?
So
but it is a satirical advertising, it says, but it's a connected coffee machine.
Yeah. But I would say, so as my background in marketing and that, I feel like if you're going to have an ad that says, "Hey computer, make me a coffee," you need to see some form of digital screen in that ad.
Yes.
Just my feedback creatively on that.
It says that it's the same features as normal, but dressed in tech speak. So I'm like, anyway, so I thought that was kind of fun, and looks at just how some companies are trying to meet the challenge of
marketing innovations as well as coffee innovations.
Yeah. But it is an interesting thing. We've talked a lot about automation. I think it's going to continue to be a conversation point, that technology, the IoT of kind of coffee machines and brewing is just going to continue. So,
oh, hang on. This just in, I'm getting a live cross during our news report. We've got to cut to our live reporter in the field, Ollie, for this week's market report.
Hey, Rowan. Hey, Ben. As always, great to hear from you. Today is the 8th of October, 2025. We find the market at 375.40. That's down from yesterday's level of 381.60. Good news to see the market come off. There are a number of factors which could actually force the market to go up and test some of these higher levels of 391. Starting, then we look at the weather. Rains have not eventuated in Brazil as hoped, and we're still seeing a forecast with no rain ahead, which is not good news for coffee for the future. Current tariffs are also encouraging coffee consumption, specifically in the US, as always, and bag numbers down in those certified warehouses are now at 335,000 bags, which is lower than it's been in a while. We've also seen a weak US dollar outlook, higher unemployment levels, and this gives another support for higher prices on the C market. So what's going on here? Why is the market actually doing the opposite and coming down, and all the indicators hinting at a higher market? Well, that probably relates to a call between President Trump of the US and President Lula of Brazil. Trump indicated on Truth Social that the call was about economy and trade between two nations. Now, there's no guarantee that it's going to be about the tariffs or reducing the tariffs, but the managed money, the speculators seem to think that at least will come off. And if the tariffs aren't at least removed, you could see a softening of the tariffs, which of course will stop all of that consumption in the US, or at least reduce some of that consumption in the US. And then, that reduces the scarcity issue. Hence the reason why we're seeing the market come off a little. What is interesting is that an 8% move on the market over a week seems to be the new normal. As I always say, that feeds into the constant view of using dips, using these drops to take that risk off the table. And that's it from me. Back to you, gentlemen. Of course, it is just coffee.
Great stuff. Thanks, Ollie. I love those dulcet tones delivering the knowledge.
You should really wear pants during those crosses.
What a crazy week it's been.
I think that's why you turned the video off on that one.
Oh, yeah. Is that why there's no video on this? Okay.
Continuing on our equipment conversation and innovations, I came across this product. I don't know that much about it and quite understand how it works, but
that's what podcasts are for, to speculate wildly.
Is breaking news. It's news. It's not just speculation. So this is this product comes from a South Korean equipment company. They're a startup called Belka, and they have developed this product called the Portal. The Portal, and it is bringing real-time extraction analysis to professional and home brewing equipment. So it's a Bluetooth connected device, and it continuously measures brewed coffee concentration as it flows from either a pour over or from portafilters, right?
So just a TDS, is that right? A TDS of like a live extraction?
Yeah, well, it measures electrical conductivity and temperature, right? Which I think basically then transfers through to a TDS kind of reading. And it's got all the mobile apps and everything and kind of takes it. I don't understand how it kind of connects between the brewing and the cup and without just going everywhere. But it is a portal through which things get measured. And
probably just in the cup, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could just put it over your cup or over your brewing thing. But yeah, they've collaborated with the Meticulous espresso machines on the approach and kind of had some background with the Stronghold team with the roasting. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
The Meticulous machine, I forgot about that.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean,
Maybe
wow, it had like a
podcast.
huge, absolutely. It had a huge boom, but I just realized I haven't heard about it in maybe a year.
They're still out there, yeah. I see them pretty frequently at the trade shows, brewing up some coffees. It's a pretty unique design.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. It's interesting. So anyway, I think that the portal is kind of coming out soon. It'll be kind of interesting there. As I said, they measure, what's the phrase here that they're using? Electrical conductivity rather than total dissolved solids. And TDS is kind of our standard. But they're kind of saying that the electrical conductivity allows for more of that real-time measurement. Whereas, when you do a TDS reading, you have to kind of take a couple of reads and make sure that you get a consistent result.
So what would the benefit of that be? Would it be that we then know at what point in the extraction we're getting the majority of the dissolved solids?
Yeah, or I guess maybe if it was super smoothly integrated into your extraction flow of whatever sort, that you could do really real-time extraction testing. Right? Like so that it's more of a quality control thing maybe.
Okay.
Rather than splitting it apart, it would be more like, whoa, this one just veered off. Let's not serve that. Especially, I guess, if you're doing like a really high-end coffee
kind of
right?
thing, like those omakase things where it's like you want it to be dialed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're serving out in espresso, like a $20 espresso or something of like a fancy coffee, you really want to make sure the extraction is on point.
I mean, that's so true. I mean, to be fair, in like a few years, we're probably going to look back and be like, we were serving like $250 coffees without really knowing if it was brewed well.
Yeah. And I think the other interesting thing, especially with espresso extraction, is that you've kind of got these different phases of water flow through that it all gets combined into a spout and then into one visual looking thing and one combined TDS. But it might be interesting to go, at the middle of that shot, we actually we had a channel, and so the extraction just dropped way out and changed and then it recovered. And so we know that like even though the total number shows one thing, that little section might be funky. But anyway, there are a couple of little bits of news that came across my desk that I thought were kind of interesting.
Thank you for sharing them. That brings us to the end of another coffee break. I hope you all enjoyed our shows diving into all the technologies and innovations we've seen through the barista competitions from around the world. I sure enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben, again for sharing your knowledge on all of that from your judging experience. If you want to reach out with any questions or have anything that you want us to kind of research and look at while we're at Host in Milan, please let us know. Reach out at hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com. You can reach us on all the socials. And please, for the love of sweet Jeebus, subscribe to that pod because we love you.
Yeah.
And we love the support and we're doing the best we can for you.
And share it out on socials because we're really keen to hear from everyone about what they would like us to feature.
Yep.
So if you've got a topic or a person that you think would be inspiring or interesting to have on the pod, then let us know.
We could definitely get better at that two-way conversation. We'll make that effort as well.
You talk to us, we'll talk to you.
Yeah. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a quick word from one of our sponsors, Apax Lab. Elevate your coffee experience with Apax Lab mineral concentrates. Apax Lab's precision-engineered formulas, including tonic, jam, and lilac, are designed to enhance the coffee's natural flavors. Not going to change it, it's just going to enhance it. It's going to bring out the vibrant acidity, the rich sweetness, or if you use lilac, it might bring out those delicate floral notes that you've been looking for. Trusted by world-class cafes and even barista champions, Apax Lab helps you unlock your coffee's full potential. Discover more at apaxlab.com. Wait, where was that again, Sonam?
The internet.
Oh, okay. Thought I was going to say the website. Thanks. Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors at Eco Barista. The reason I sound like this is because they got massages at our stand at Mice, and so I'm getting a massage while recording this message for you. They're the best sponsor of the pod that we could have had.
They have the best eco products. This probably sounds really pornographic, but it's not. I'm just getting a massage. They have the best eco-friendly coffee products. They got coffee bags that you can design yourself. They got cups. They got iced coffee cups. They got everything you need. So make sure to support them because they support us. Head to ecobarista.com.au and get 15% off your first purchase when you sign up. Oh, mama, that's good.